What's going on, everyone? I am Matt Pendergraph, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about this beast of a rack behind me. It is the Harbor Heavyweights HH80 V2 Elite Half Rack and Smith Machine Trainer with dual 200-pound weight stacks. I hate that name, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even bother memorizing it, as you can tell. They should definitely change it to something cooler to reflect how cool this rack is, but right out of the gate, first critique, there we go. As you can tell, I do not sound like myself. If you are a longtime subscriber, I'm sick right now. It is what it is. We all get sick. If you've been sick, comment down below. Anyways, I've got my wife behind the camera. I typically have a tripod set up, but I wanted something a little more dynamic or interactive to a degree. I don't know. But yeah, she's back there. I'm going to be talking about this rack today, kind of going over my thoughts and feelings on it. I've had it for about 6 months. 7 months, 6 months. So anyways, I've had a good enough amount of time with this thing to kind of formulate an opinion as to if I think this is a good purchase for someone that might be looking for like one of these all-in-one style trainers. And yeah, so let's dive into this bad boy. So to start things off, I'm going to disclose to you that this rack was sent to me free of charge in exchange for content, which will have no impact at all on anything I say or how I feel about this rack. Or will it? Do you like that? Do you like that? It's stupid. It is stupid. It's going to completely affect how I feel about this rack and what I tell you in order to get you to make a purchase. Because that's how this stuff works, all right? Just kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to tell people you're just joking.
I'm just joking. Anyways, they did send this to me. I'm losing my train of thought. So this company, I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about them other than maybe 2 years ago-ish. I know my timeline's gonna be skewed here. They reached out to me. They were working on some adjustable dumbbells and they were wanting to send me some. And I guess it never came to fruition or they abandoned the project. I don't really know what happened. Long story short, never got dumbbells. And then they reached out to me again and they were getting into this all-in-one space or whatever with these racks, which I think is a much cooler space to be into. Not that the adjustable dumbbells aren't really cool, because they're very cool. It's just extremely saturated at this point, and there are some major players doing some awesome stuff in the adjustable arena. It's gonna be hard to compete with those. So not that it's not happening with this adjustable or this all-in-one trainer style. Like there's a lot of companies making these as well. But anyways, when they initially hit me up about this rack, I was curious, but I wasn't like, bring it on. You know, I kind of did a little bit of research before I said yes. The thing that really sold me was the Smith machine. This one has a Smith machine. A couple of other ones do not. Before I dive too deep into this rack, I do want to point out probably a glaringly obvious thing that's staring you right in the face. If this rack looks very similar, if not dang near identical to maybe another offering you've seen online, well, it's because, and this is not a dig at the company, I think that this is a off-the-shelf item. And what I mean by that is basically Harbor Heavyweights, they want to offer these all-in-one racks. They go to their manufacturer over there in China. They say, hey, what do you got in terms of all-in-one racks? They show them maybe a catalog or they show like the bones of what they offer. They're like, this looks great. Let's put our logo on it. Let's put knurled handles. Let's do this, this, this. They make little subtle tweaks. Think of it as the bones are there and they manipulate the skin, if that doesn't seem grotesque. Maybe it is, I don't know. It's not a bad practice or anything like that. I'm not saying, oh, this is terrible, stay away from this. It is what it is though. I just want you to be aware. Plus, they're not the only company that does this. Fringe Sport with their Dame, same exact thing. Vesta Fitness, same thing. There's another company, Vander USA or something. It's the same stuff basically, just minor tweaks here and there. So again, not saying it's bad, but when you compare it to something, for instance, I have the Rep Aries, the quality differences, I mean, it's pretty night and day. Even things getting down to the quality of the finish of the powder coat, the welds, just the way things are designed. I mean, that's what you're paying for when you pay, you know, $6,000 versus $3,000. So it's not an overall like bad experience or anything. Just the quality of the experience is different, and that's what you're paying for. Everything with Rep is built basically to their specs. Every little bracket, every little shroud, everything that goes on their rack is designed in-house in Colorado, and then they have their manufacturer overseas sit there and, you know, obviously make it and ship it to them. So it's a different process. I know I'm rambling on this, but I want to make you completely aware as to what's going on. And yeah, I say this because I had a couple of people actually pop up in my DMs. Hey, how does this compare to the Athena? And it's like, yes, there is a comparison there, but they're not the same. Functionally speaking, absolutely, but quality, overall user experience, I mean, it is what it is. I know I keep saying that, but I mean, it is. So anyways, just wanted to point that out. So kind of staying on the same note, if I had to classify these racks, I'd say you've got your A, your B, and your C tier. C tier is pretty much anything you're gonna find on Amazon. I personally wouldn't recommend it. There's a reason those prices are significantly cheaper, but yet they offer so much more when it comes to like what you're getting. They've got to cut those costs somewhere, whether that's like thinner steel, cheaper materials. My safety is more important than saving a few dollars. So these racks I would say fall into B tier. That's gonna be again like your Vesta, your Dane. They're nice racks, 3x3, 11 gauge steel, super strong. The components are nice. They're just not proprietary, I would say. And then you've got your A tier, which is gonna be cream of the crop, best overall user experience. That's your Rep, your Rogue Fitness, your Prime, just all of these. They're built from the ground up, and just the fit and finish, the overall experience, everything is just gonna be so much more premium. So, but you're gonna pay for that. So yeah, I would say if you're gonna buy anything at all, definitely B tier. If you can't swing an A tier, or buy a B tier and then maybe later upgrade to an A tier, stay away from C tier. Stay away, you'll regret it. All right, so now that we've got that awkwardness out of the way, let's talk about what this rack provides you, the end user or the purchaser of the rack. And I've already kind of touched on this, but 3x3, 11 gauge steel uprights, and of course cross members. It's got some 1-inch holes, very nice laser cut numbering, which is also very nice. And my rack is 93 inches tall, but they do offer an 86-inch version if you require something shorter. Comes with a pull-up bar, multi-grip pull-up bar, and it's actually outside of the Smith machine, the second thing that sold me on this rack. I'm a very big proprietor. I like doing pull-ups. And so when I say a nice pull-up bar, I'm very much happy about that. I was gonna say something else, but I'm not going to. It's got multi-grip pull-up bar. It's got knurling on a couple of the grips, not all of them, which is nice, especially when your hands get sore. And the overall shape of the bar is very Sornex-esque, which is, I find extremely sexy. Of course, you've got the name badge at the back of the rack, says Harbor. I think the font is really cool. I like the black-white contrast they've got going on. And speaking of black, this rack is black. They do offer it in a red and a silver as well, which I think the silver is probably just a clear coat, but obviously I've got the black version, so tickle your fancy with the colors. Also, it's got the two 200-pound stacks in it, which is gonna be for your functional trainer movements. I wouldn't advise getting this for lat pull downs and low rows, only because these 200-pound stacks are set at a 2-to-1 ratio, which means this thing is basically 100 pounds per side. Nowhere near enough weight, in my opinion, to do lat pull downs or low rows. If you are considering doing lat pull downs and low rows, you might want to, if this works, I'm just purely speculating, you might want to look at what Rep offers. They have a drop-in or an add-on lat pull-down low row that they, you drop into the back of your rack. It's made for 93-inch tall racks, or at least they've got one. I don't know why it wouldn't fit in this, but I've never tried it, so I don't want to say do it and then it doesn't work. So definitely do your research and take your own measurements. Don't take me at my word, and I'm not going to be held liable if it doesn't work. I'm just going to go ahead and say that right now. But if you end up doing it though, let me know in the comment section below, because I would be curious to see if it actually drops in it, if it works. If it does, that would be pretty dope, because again, you'd have basically your two 100-pound stacks, 2-to-1 ratio, and then a 1-to-1 ratio at the back of the rack, and that thing could be 300 pounds or whatever the max is on it. Even if it's at 200 pounds, you can put one of those bare steel pins in it, throw on a couple of plates on it, bump it up to whatever you need. Perfect. Of course, the rack has the Smith machine in it, which is the second or the first thing that sold me on the rack. Probably the first, and then the pull-up bar. Very freaking nice Smith machine. Very pleased with that. And then multiple stops on it, of course. And then let's see here. You've got your two trolleys, easily adjustable. They work on rollers. Nice knurled handle here. I've seen some that had just a bar that come out, which I think honestly looks stupid. But this right here, this is nice. And of course, swivel. And yeah, that's pretty much the rack itself for the most part. It is a half rack, so if you plan on doing like free range, like barbell movements, you're gonna have to work on the outside of the rack, which isn't a problem. The accessories, they've got you covered there. Speaking of the accessories, no rack is complete without accessories, and Harbor hooks you up, which is nice. First off, the handles. It comes with these little D-ring handles for you. They're nice. The knurling on it is super nice, and then, you know, it's got some pretty good weight to it for being aluminum. So yeah, that's a win there. Also, at the back of the rack, they have this little cross member to store all of your accessories that they give you, which is also really nice. I was talking about working off the front of the rack. They give you 2 safety spotters, which are great. They give you these mag pins to use for essentially anything that you want, the safety spotters. I don't like these mag pins. They're kind of cheap. The magnets protrude quite a bit on the back. It's just gonna scratch. It's just, I don't like this. So I would recommend maybe do something else, but whatever. If you don't care, then it's fine. They do work as far as whatever, but I don't see the magnets staying in. And like I said, the magnets protrude, so it's gonna scratch a little bit. They come with some J-cups. Pull these bad boys off. The J-cups, it's another one of those areas I just don't like. I know I'm starting to sound like, oh, I don't like anything about it, but it's a cool looking J-cup, but functionally speaking, it's just a bad design in my opinion. The whole point of a sandwich J-cup is so that the sandwich basically protrudes and it covers every area that you might potentially hit your barbell against the J-cup. And while yes, the plastic goes, you know, all the way around, which is what you want, it does not stick out very far from the edge of the metal that's like all decorative, and which is stupid in my opinion. So what's gonna happen is you start to wear this down, which is not gonna take very long. You're gonna be digging your bar into the metal edges, which is not what you want. So I would say use these once you get it, but maybe look into updating them, upgrading, going somewhere else, buying some other, you know, cheaper J-cups. Cheaper. Buy some cheap J-cups that are better in terms of design. And there's quite a few out there. Rep makes some, Griffin makes some. If you want to, you know, splurge, get Rogue, they make some. But yeah, I would definitely say Harbor Heavyweights, if you are listening, which I'm sure you are, fix your J-cups. Provide some better J-cups. These aren't that great. So anyways, past that, let's see. If I can put them back on there correctly. Another thing. Cabling. So I, like a dummy, did not read about the cabling, and which it didn't affect me, but it could have. When you buy this rack, it's very cool. You can put the Smith machine in the front or the back. And so when you put your weight stack in the front or the back, whatever, it's gonna change the length of the cable that you're having to use. And they've already thought of that. They provide you with both lengths that you'll need so you can make that change, you know, on the fly or whenever you're installing it or whatever, or setting it up. I did not know that, so when I took it out of the box, I was like, why does this come with extra cabling? Didn't really know. I just guessed at the cabling that I thought would be correct, and turns out it was, but had I used the wrong cabling, I'd been fishing, you know, new cabling back through. But yeah, anyways, this is really cool that they give you that option to swap between the two so you can set the rack up more for your needs, kind of make it more of your own, which is always great. Also, back here, I'll pull this out. I've got it attached, but it's a landmine, always fun. Landmine activities are great. And then of course, at the rear of the rack, I have 6 weight horns, which is very nice touch. And then jumping back to the Smith machine, this part right here gets me super excited. I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect that much, to be honest with you, but this easily takes the cake, in my opinion. The Harbor Heavyweights, they offer it in 2 different styles, a counterbalanced and a non-counterbalanced. What that means is I've got the non-counterbalanced. This bar weighs 45 pounds. So basically a standard barbell. The counterbalanced, I believe just weighs 0 pounds. It's just, it doesn't weigh anything, which is great for maybe beginner lifters, just people that aren't that strong. There was a bug. People that aren't that strong, that maybe just would feel better starting at 0 and then just kind of like micro loading up or whatever. But both have their purposes. Pick or choose whichever one you want. I can't remember if there was an upcharge, but yeah, that's pretty cool that they offer that. But yeah, Smith machine, I don't know if you heard this earlier, that right there, those are linear bearings, my friend. That is right. These things travel on a solid steel guide rod on each side, obviously, with linear bearings. So It is so freaking smooth. The operation could not be any nicer in my opinion. That, and then coupled with the grippy knurling on the barbell, it's just such a good experience. I think so much about the Smith machine. And I mean, seriously, I like good knurling. I'm not like a snob or whatever, but I do like good knurling. I don't want to feel like the bar is ever going to slip out of my hands. This is plenty freaking grippy. I hope that this is consistent across the board and that I didn't just get one that's got nice knurling and then maybe you get one and it's like really passive. But this is very nice. I think you'll be, you know, happy with it. And then like I said, the linear bearings doesn't get any smoother than that. Also, pull this up. These are your safeties. You can set them at whatever height you want. Same thing. Look at that. Linear bearings. So freaking nice. I will say, I'm talking a lot about this and I'm giving it high praises. It's not perfect. And what I mean by that, I'm 6 feet. If I wanted to stand here and do some military pressing, you know, I'm definitely gonna hit. Easy fix, just sit down on a bench and do it, you're fine. Same thing when I'm going down low. I'm gonna have to adjust the camera for this. Yeah, now we're talking. So look at this. I'm bottoming out like higher than I'd like to. So you could, if you wanted to be a brave man, take the safeties off. That'd give you another, I don't know, maybe 4 inches or so. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. So if you do plan on getting this and maybe doing deadlifts off of it, you're gonna have to stand on some platforms of sorts or some RDLs or whatever. Hip thrusts is probably out of the question. So yeah, something to be mindful of. I wish that they would have dropped this down even more. I'm not really sure why they didn't. They've got extra clearance down at the bottom, but. All right, and so now moving on to the cable portion of this rack setup. This was kind of the area that surprised me the most in terms of, I guess I'm not gonna say I had high hopes, but I had higher expectations. This isn't bad. There's some friction that I can feel that I really don't like. And which is kind of crazy. It's like 24, kind of crazy. It uses aluminum pulleys. And so you would think that'd be just like world smoother than maybe some plastic or whatever. But I don't know the quality of these pulleys. I think they're fine, but I'm just feeling a lot of friction. Coming from an Aries 2.0 like I have behind the camera here, it uses way more pulleys, yet it feels, I'm not gonna say twice as smooth, but dang near close twice as smooth. And I think one of the biggest reasons for that is because the cabling they're using on this is crazy thick. It's probably twice as thick, 2.5 times as thick as what Aries is using over there. And I don't know, I just don't think it's as pliable. And so bending around the stuff, I feel like it's introducing more friction than it needs to. And it'd be an easy fix, or at least, even if it's not, you know, the fix, it'd be worth the company exploring maybe some thinner cabling. I wouldn't advise, again, getting this for lat pull downs or low rows, even though the company does offer the seat and the low row foot plate. Again, I don't know, it's not enough weight. And then the trolley, by the time you sit on it, at 6 foot, it's not enough range of motion for me. Maybe if you're shorter, you can get by, but it's not enough weight, not enough range of motion. It just doesn't seem like it's built for lat pull downs on low rows. It's a nice selling point, you know, but I don't know, kind of silly to me. So company's probably gonna hate me saying that, but again, it is what it is. That's the theme of this video. It's a lot better than some of the other ones I've felt. And it can be improved upon. You could probably oil these rods up a little bit more than what I've got them. And I'm sure over time, everything would just be, and maybe even squirting some lubricants, you know, like in each one of the pulleys would help. I don't really know, but just want to be completely open and honest as to what I'm experiencing over here. And I want to make sure that your expectations are met if you end up going this route. Yeah. So to wrap up this probably unnecessarily long video, I will say that while the rack is not perfect, there's enough right with it to make me overlook the wrongs. Is that a weird way to word that? I hate to use the word flaws, but just the gripes that I've got with it. I feel like I would have no problems recommend someone to check this thing out. And if this were the only rack in my gym for me to use like on the daily, I wouldn't be mad. I really wouldn't be. I think it's a solid B choice rack. And again, I think it actually stands above. That freaking bug is back. Take my shoe off. Get it. Get it. So yeah, I shouldn't have left the garage door open. I was going for a different look. And the bugs want to come in, especially the weather getting nicer. So anyways, I appreciate you watching this video. If you stuck around this long, I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna choke it in front of all of its friends if it doesn't. I appreciate you coming and watching the video and sticking around. There are multiple. I can see them out of the corner of my eye. I'm gonna end this video. Appreciate it, and go do something productive today. Yeah.